During a family vacation, Natalie's husband's parents insisted she sit at a separate table. No one spoke to her the entire trip. When she asked her husband Philip, he just shrugged. "It's just their way," he muttered. She smiled and said, "Perfect, I have my own way too." Oh wait. The next morning they found out what she hadn't and panic set in. Looking back, these signs had always been there. The little comments, the dismissive looks, the way she was always treated like an afterthought in her own marriage, but she ignored them because she loved Philip. She thought if she just kept trying, if she kept being patient, things would change. They didn't. Instead, she found herself on a family vacation that was supposed to be a fun, relaxing trip to Hilton Head, South Carolina. But it turned into something else, something she would never forget. They had just arrived at the resort. It was a beautiful place, the kind seen in travel magazines, white sand, palm trees, the sound of waves crashing in the distance. She was actually excited, maybe, just maybe. This trip would be different. Maybe Williams and Kate, her in-laws, would finally warm up to her. Maybe they would sit together, laugh, bond as a family. She was wrong. That first night they went to a nice restaurant for dinner. The waiter showed them to a long table set perfectly for their group just as she was about to sit down next to Philip. William spoke up. "Oh, there must be a mistake," he said, shaking his head. "She needs her own table." Natalie blinked, thinking she must have misheard. "Excuse me," she asked. Kate didn't even look up from the menu. "It's just how we do things." She looked at Philip, waiting for him to say something to tell them. This was ridiculous that she was his wife, not some random stranger. Instead, he just sighed and shrugged. "It's just their way," he muttered. "Their way." So she sat at her own table alone. She should have left right then and there, but she didn't. She stayed thinking. Maybe it was just a weird tradition, a one-time thing. But it wasn't. The next morning, she woke up early, ready to go to breakfast with the family. She walked down to the hotel restaurant, expecting to see them. Waiting for her, they weren't. She texted Philip. No response. She wandered around for nearly half an hour before she finally found them already sitting at a large table, mid-meal, laughing and chatting like nothing was wrong, like she wasn't even there. She walked up confused. "Why didn't you tell me you were coming down?" Williams barely looked up. "We assumed you'd figure it out." Kate sipped her coffee. "It's just how we do things." She glanced at Philip. He was already eating, acting like this was totally normal. That was the moment she realized she wasn't part of their family. She never had been, and Philip, he wasn't on her side. The rest of the trip followed the same pattern. Every meal she sat alone, every group activity. They conveniently forgot to tell her they went out on a private boat tour. She found out about it when she saw their pictures on Instagram. They did a fancy wine tasting. She only realized when she walked past them in the lobby, dressed up and heading out the door. She asked Philip about it later. "You could have texted me," she said, trying to keep her voice calm. He just sighed again, as if she was the one being difficult. "It's just their way." That was the only answer he ever gave her. By the fourth day, she gave up. She stopped trying. She stopped asking. They wanted her to be invisible, fine. But they had no idea what was coming, because she had her own way too that night while they were out drinking and celebrating their perfect little family vacation. She went back to the hotel room and got to work. She wasn't just sitting at a separate table anymore. She was about to remove herself completely, and they were about to feel it. She pulled up her email, opened their reservation confirmations, and got to work, because guess what? She had booked everything: the hotel, her name, the rental car, her credit card, the dinner reservations, her account, the resort spa day Kate had been looking forward to for weeks. Oh yeah, she had booked that too. She canceled everything. One by one, she wiped their plans off the map. Their rooms, canceled their rental car, gone their fancy dinner at the waterfront restaurant, not happening. She even called the spa and politely informed them that Kate would not be attending. Then she packed her bags, took the rental car and left while they were clinking glasses and toasting to their perfect vacations. She was already driving down the highway heading toward Charleston. She booked herself a luxury suite, ordered room service and sat on the balcony. watching the ocean finally at peace. Meanwhile, back in Hilton Head, panic was about to set in. She woke up in Charleston feeling refreshed for the first time in days. The ocean breeze drifted through her hotel room as she sipped her coffee, stretched out on a plush lounge chair and watched the waves roll in. Then her phone started vibrating. Philip. She let it ring, then Kate, then Philip again, then Williams. She turned her phone on silent and smiled. They had finally noticed. She imagined the exact moment their realization hit them. Williams stepping out of bed, groggy and grumbling. Only Toby met by a hotel manager at the door. Sir, there seems to be an issue with your reservation. Kate mid-stretch rolling over to grab her phone, ready to check the itinerary for the day, only to see a string of cancellation emails. Philip rubbing his temples, confused, still half asleep, hearing his mother's voice escalate. From mild irritation to full-on screaming. They had no rooms, no car, no plans. Natalie smiled into her coffee. A few hours later, when she finally got tired of the silence, she checked her messages. Philip. Where are you, Philip? What the hell is going on? Philip, you need to fix this. Now she decided to pick up his next call just for fun. The second she answered, his voice was sharp. Where are you? Philip demanded. Charleston. A pause. Charleston. What the hell are you doing there? Enjoying myself? She could hear voices in the background, Kate yelling at the hotel staff, William swearing under his breath. You canceled everything? Philip finally asked, his voice lower now, like he still couldn't quite believe it. Yes, he sucked in a sharp breath. Do you have any idea what you've done? My parents have nowhere to stay. We had plans. You left us stranded. Oh no, she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. That must sound comfortable. Philip went silent again, probably realizing she had used his own words against him. She continued, You all wanted me to be separate, so I gave you what you wanted. This is insane, he snapped. You need to come back. She lowered. No, Philip, I really don't. And she hung up. Later, she found out just how badly things had gone for them. With the hotel fully booked, they had to scramble to find another place to stay. They ended up in a dingy roadside motel, minutes away from the resort, the kind with flickering lights and a weird smell in the air. No rental car meant they had to Uber everywhere, but Hilton Head wasn't exactly packed with rideshare drivers. Surge pricing hit them hard, and the fancy dinner Williams had been bragging about for weeks fully booked now. They had to eat at some random tourist trap surrounded by screaming kids and bad seafood. Kate threw a full-on tantrum at the spa. When she realized her reservation was gone, she demanded they fit her in anyway. They didn't. Natalie got all of this from the angry texts Philip sent later. Philip, you seriously just left us like this? Philip, Mum is furious. She was humiliated at the spa. Philip, Dad is losing his mind over the restaurant. Philip, I hope you're happy. She thought that would be the worst of it for them, a little inconvenience, a taste of their own medicine. But then something really interesting happened a few hours later. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Philip, it was a message from Monica, Philip's cousin. Monica, hey, just wanted to say I heard what happened, and honestly, good for you. Natalie frowned, rereading the message. She and Monica had always gotten along fine, but they weren't exactly close. Natalie, wait, what do you mean? Her response made Natalie's stomach drop. Monica, they did the same thing to Philip's ex-wife. Natalie sat up straight. Philip's ex-wife, he had always told her his first marriage ended because they grew apart. Nothing dramatic, just differences that couldn't be fixed. She had never questioned it. Natalie, what do you mean? Monica went on. Monica, she went on a family trip with them. They treated her like garbage the entire time, made her sit at a separate table, ignored her, acted like she wasn't there. She left halfway through, filed for divorce a month later. Natalie's heart pounded. Natalie, he never told me that. Monica, I didn't say anything before because I figured you knew. But seeing what they did to you, I realized he never told you. Did he? No, he hadn't. Because if he had, she never would have gone on this trip. If he had, she would have known this. wasn't just their way. This was a pattern, and Philip, he had known exactly what was happening, and he had let it happen. Anyway, that night, Philip called again. This time she answered. "I need you to fix this," he said immediately, his voice low and tight with frustration. "No, you don't understand my parents. I understand perfectly." She cut him off. "This wasn't about traditions. This was about control. You knew they were going to do this to him, and you let it happen." Silence. Then finally he spoke. "Who told you that?" "Bingo," she laughed. "So it's true. I wasn't the first." More silence then. Philip sighed. "Look, my parents can be a little difficult, but they mean well, Philip. They don't even see me as part of the family." He hesitated, and in that moment she knew he wasn't going to fight for her. He never had come back. He said, "Instead, let me fix this." She stared out at the ocean, at the waves crashing gently against the shore. "No," she said, again her voice steady. "I think I've already fixed it." And she hung up after she ended the call. She stared at her phone, her mind racing. Philip had known he had seen this all before, and he had still let her walk straight into it. She wasn't just furious anymore, she was done. She poured herself another drink, leaned back in her lounge chair, and tried to enjoy the rest of her evening. But something was nagging at her. If he had lied about his ex-wife, what else had he lied about? She decided to do some digging, opening Facebook. She searched for a name she had never bothered to look up before: Jenny, Philip's ex-wife. Her profile was private, but Natalie scrolled through mutual friends, searching for anyone who might be willing to talk. Then she saw her sister's profile, Juliet, and she had public posts. Natalie clicked on one from 2 years ago, just after Jenny and Philip had split. "Never let a man's family destroy you. Never let them convince you that you're less than you are. My sister deserved better. We all tried to warn her. Never again." Natalie's stomach twisted. She scrolled further and found an old comment from Monica, the same cousin who'd just messaged her. "I wish she had listened to us. At least she's free now. Listen to them." Natalie sat there, her heart pounding. She didn't know what to do. She could message Juliet. She could ask her what really happened, but was she ready to hear it? Natalie stared at the screen for a long time. Then finally she took a deep breath and typed me. "Hey, this is going to sound really random, but I think we need to talk." She wasn't sure if she would even get a response, but within minutes her phone buzzed. "Juliet, I was wondering when you'd reach out." That single message hit her like a punch to the stomach. "Me, so you know who I am." "Juliet, yeah, we've been waiting for this to happen." Natalie stared at the screen, her fingers frozen over the keyboard. "Me what? Do you mean Juliet? Jenny wasn't the first, you know, and she sure wasn't the last." Her breath caught me. "What are you saying, Juliet?" "I'm saying Philip has done this before more than once. His parents have done this before more than once. And if you're talking to me right now, I'm guessing you just went through it too." Natalie felt sick. This wasn't just some one-off pattern. This was a game to them, a twisted little tradition they played on every woman Philip brought into his life. They never saw his partners as real family, just obstacles, and Philip held it happened every single time. "Me, why didn't anyone tell me?" "Juliet, we tried, but Philip always makes sure his girlfriends stay isolated. He tells them his family just has quirks or tradition. She makes sure they don't ask too many questions. Did he ever tell you?" Jenny was the problem. Natalia closed her eyes. He had painted Jenny as difficult, as someone who never understood his family, who always made drama over small things. But now she knew the truth. Jenny hadn't been dramatic. She had been trapped, and now so was she, or at least she had been, until now. Natalie didn't sleep that night. The realization that she had wasted years of her life on this man burned in her chest. But there was something else, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. Why had Philip called her so many times today? Why was he this desperate then at 6 a.m? She got her answer. A text popped up from an unknown number. "Ma'am, this is Officer Daniels with the Hilton Head Police Department. We need to speak with you regarding a missing persons report filed by your husband." Natalie sat up so fast, she nearly knocked her phone off the nightstand. "Missing persons reports." She scrambled to call back, her mind racing. The second the officer picked up, she blurted, "I'm fine, I'm not missing." A pause, then, "Mom, are you saying you left voluntarily?" Yes, obviously I left voluntarily. My husband knows exactly where I am. He's been calling me non-stop. The officer side. Your husband reported that you left without explanation and haven't been answering his calls. He has said he was concerned for your safety. Natalie clenched her jaw so hard her teeth hurt. This wasn't concern, this was control. Philip hadn't been worried about her. He had been trying to force her to come back. She took a deep breath. Officer, I am perfectly fine. I am in Charleston. I left Hilton Head by choice. I am not missing, and I do not want my husband contacting me. A pause. Would you like to file a formal request for no further contact? She hesitated, then finally she exhaled. Yes, I would, and just like that she put the first legal nail in the coffin of her marriage not even an hour later. Her phone buzzed with a new text. This time it was from Kate. Kate, I cannot believe you would humiliate us like this. Natalie laughed out loud. She ignored it, then another message. Kate, you made Philip involve the police. Do you have any idea how this looks? Oh, she made Philip involve the police. She rolled her yes and took another sip of her coffee. Then the messages kept coming. Kate, this family has done nothing but try to come you, Kate. You're being incredibly selfish. Kate, you need to come back and fix this. And finally, Kate, if you don't come back, Philip is going to make things very difficult for you. Natalie froze. It wasn't even subtle. It was a threat. She sat back in her chair, rereading the message over and over. She had thought this was just about control, just about their twisted little family games, but now she realized something much worse. They weren't just trying to humiliate her, they were trying to break her. And if she didn't do something fast, Philip was about to make sure they succeeded. Natalie stared at Kate's text for a long time. If you don't come back, Philip is going to make things very difficult for you. It wasn't even a warning, it was a promise. She could feel it. Now the shift. This wasn't just them being cold or dismissive. This was a battle, and she was supposed to roll over and lose, but she wouldn't. Not this time. She cracked her knuckles, took a deep breath, and sent one single message. Back me, perfect. Let's make things difficult. Then she booked a hotel conference room in Charleston and invited everyone, Philip, his parents, and Monica, because if they wanted a war, she was going to bring it right to their doorstep the next morning. Natalie sat in the conference room, waiting. The long wooden table was set, with nothing but bottled water, and the thick silence of anticipation. She didn't wait long. The door slammed open. Philip stormed in first. His jaw clenched so tightly she thought his teeth might crack. His parents followed, Kate's heels clicking sharply against the floor, Williams's face already red with anger. Monica came in last, hesitant, her arms crossed. She gave Natalie a slight nod. Natalie had no idea if Monica was here as a witness, a mediator, or just for the drama. She leaned back in her chair. Glad you could all make it. Philip's voice was sharp. What the hell is this? She smiled, slow and deliberate. A conversation. You've been so eager to talk, so let's talk. William scoffed, arms folded across his chest. You think this is funny? No, she said calmly. I think it's pathetic. Think you people play sick little games with the women in your family and you finally picked the wrong one. Kate's eyes narrowed. You abandoned us. Natalie laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, I abandoned you? That's rich, coming from the people who spent an entire vacation pretending I didn't exist. Philip exhaled harshly, gripping the back of a chair. You're blowing this out of proportion. That was it. That was the moment she slammed her hands on the table so hard that Kate flinched. I am your wife, she said, a voice echoing in the room, cold and sharp. Not a stranger, not some random outsider. I am your wife, and you let them treat me like nothing. Then she turned to Philip, jabbing a finger at him. And you knew this wasn't the first time. You knew exactly what was happening, and you let it happen anyway. His face paled. Kate cutting quickly, her voice high-pitched. We were just following tradition. Natalie shot back. It's not tradition, it's control. It's a test and you fail. Every woman who walks into this family. Philip shook his head. You're overreacting. Natalie grabbed her phone, pulled up the messages from Juliet, and threw it onto the table in front of him. Read it, he hesitated. Read it slowly. Philip picked up the phone and scrolled. Natalie watched his face tighten with every word. Then he threw the phone down like it burned him. This isn't proof of anything. Williams crossed his arms. You're digging up old stories. It has nothing to do with us. Natalie turned to Kate. Is that right? Because last night you sent me a message threatening me. You told me if I didn't come back, Philip would make things difficult. Kate's mouth snapped shut. Monica let out a low whistle. Wow. Philip turned to his mother, eyes narrowing. You did what Kate stiffened. I was trying to make her understand what his voice rose, that you've been playing this game for years, that you did the same thing to Jenny. Williams shifted uncomfortably. Kate shot him a look, but the damage was done. Philip's jaw twitched. Jesus Christ, and just like that, she saw it, the crack, the tiny fracture in his carefully built loyalty to his parents the moment he realized she hadn't been wrong, that she'd never been wrong. Philip turned back to her for the first time. He actually looked unsure. She stared at him, waiting to see if he would finally say something that mattered. But then he ran, his hands through his hair inside. I can fix this. Her stomach dropped. That washes first. Instinct, not an apology, not regret, just fixing the optics. She leaned back, exhaling slowly. You really don't get it, do you? Silence. She stood up, adjusting her bag. I'm not coming back. That snapped him out of it. Wait, what? I'm done. His eyes widened. You're serious? Monica snorted. Dude, how have you not figured that out by now? Kate's voice rose. This is ridiculous. You're throwing away your marriage over a misunderstanding. Natalie shook her head. No, Kate. You threw it away, you and Williams, and your sick, twisted way of reading people. Philip was just too weak to stop it. Philip reached for her arm, but she stepped back. Wait, let's talk about this. She held up her hand. No, Philip. You talk, you make excuses, you let them control you, but I'm done listening. She grabbed her phone and walked to the door. Philip's voice was almost desperate now. Wait, where are you going? She turned back, staring at him. One last time. I'm leaving. Kate scoffed. You can't just leave a marriage. Natalie met her gaze, her expression unreadable. Watch me. Then she walked out the door. It took months to finalize the divorce. Philip tried everything, begging, blaming, even accusing her of overreacting, but she never looked back. Monica stayed in touch. She told her things imploded after she left. Apparently, Philip finally confronted his parents, and it wasn't pretty. Williams called him weak. Kate cried, saying Natalie had brainwashed him. For the first time, Philip saw them for what they really were. It didn't change anything for her. She was already gone. She moved back to Charleston permanently. She found a new apartment, reconnected with old friends, and started rebuilding her life one night.